Okay, I believe we are live. I'm not good at these things, to be honest, but hopefully we're live. Hopefully you guys can see this. Let me just double check all my settings here. Yeah, I think we are good to go. Let me just double check this. Okay, cool. It's a little bit delayed, but that's okay. Ask the questions away. Essentially, what we're going to try and do is create a complete SEO strategy using Claude Sonnet 3.7 and the projects feature. So inside our community, the AI Ranking School community, I asked somebody, look, I need a website that we can build a strategy around and the top competitors. Zach has kindly provided the website as well as the competitors, and specifically they're going all in on vintage watches. So that's our keyword, right? And the first thing I like to do is just try to get everything organized within a Google Sheet. We're going to use this quite a bit throughout this whole thing. I'm going to try and answer questions as you guys might have them, but please feel free if you're watching to comment, send me some kind of comment here to let me know that you are actually watching this, and if any questions you might have throughout the stream, just put them in the chat and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. There is a little bit of delay here, so sorry if the answers are delayed, but the idea here is to show you guys that this isn't too difficult and we can get all the data that we need, but a lot of people get stuck in that step. Once you get the data for all your SEO, then what do, right? So this is the best way, I think, to use these really smart AI tools, Claude Sonnet 3.7. You can probably do this with GPT 4.5, but they join they kind of bridge the gap between how difficult it is to place all the data together and turn it into an SEO strategy. Right. So let's take a look at the websites first and understand what we're dealing with. So this is the main website. And if we look at watches, shop watches, this is the main website, and this is essentially the one that we're trying to rank here, which is vintage watches, right? And okay, normal e-commerce store, there's already some fixes that I know we can do on the page, but we'll get to that in a second. But the first thing you really want to have a look at is what's everyone doing, right? So let's take a look at the competitors here. I'm going to get them all up here, and we can take a look. I just like to have a look and not go into the data straight away. So this will be an interesting one. Their main thing is vintage watches. So we shall see here another one, vintage watches, New York City. That's a spot on, but that's a terrible website. Okay, pop up, that's okay. Pre-owned watches. Okay. And then second time around, so pre-owned watches as well. Cool. Okay, great. So I think from a website design perspective, these guys are our, let me just check. The main website that we're trying to rank is actually doing okay. It's just that their main thing isn't vintage watches. So that's where we might be, obviously, it'll be a bit tricky because they do jewelry, right? Which is okay. Hi, everybody watching. Nothing and Tony Armstrong. Nice to have you guys here, by the way. So the first thing I like to do is really check how quick the website's loading. That is just a low-hanging fruit that we need to take a look at, because if the website isn't loading quick, particularly for e-commerce websites, right? If they're not loading quick, then it's going to be bad for your SEO and it's going to be bad for your conversion rate. So on the side here, I'm actually going to prepare a Google Drive folder where we're just going to chuck in all this stuff so then I can give it to Zach. And because he was lucky enough to be really quick in our community, he's going to get all this stuff as well. If you don't know me, by the way, my name's Nico. I'm an SEO specialist, AI SEO specialist. I don't even know. But we have an online community called AI Ranking School Community. It's this one here. And essentially we simplify SEO and we teach you how to maximize it with AI tools and automations. And we're going to do exactly just that here today. So if you're watching, if you caught me, well done. Okay, great. This website's loading really quickly. Fantastic. Already starting from a good spot. I'm just building my folder here on the side. I'll probably also do a video about this as well. Like a whole actual well-edited YouTube video. I just wanted to do something raw and I don't really go live, so this will be fun as well. We got 10 watches. All right, cool, nice. Cool. So the website's loading really quick. Let's take a look at the other kind of metadata from here. Lewis Martin Jewelers, Rockefeller Center, New York. Okay, good title tag. Let's take a look at the meta description. Meta description is way too long. Google will only really show about this, so 150 characters in length, so the rest is kind of pointless. So I would probably say Lewis Martin Jewelers in Rockefeller Center carries wide range of yada, yada, yada. Check out our collections today. Be very clear. You need a call to action there. And I can tell that they're really concentrating in the vintage watch collections because that's the first call to action they've got on the home page. Really good, clear and concise call to action is always great. Don't do rotating banners. They decrease conversion rate, which is just not good for you whatsoever. All right, let's look at the big thing here and see from an on-site SEO perspective, what could we do? Let's have a look at the data here. Okay, vintage watches, Lewis Martin, Rockefeller Center, New York City. That is an okay title tag for that. Maybe, yeah, no, that's all right. The keywords there. You just want the main keyword as well as the brand name, but that's okay. Title tag. Let's look at the meta description here. If you're wondering, this plugin is free. It's called SEO Wallet. Fantastic. You can look it up and you'll be able to download it right away. Shop vintage watches that blend history and style from early 20th century classics to... Okay. Cool. And before we dive in, I also like to have a look at Ahrefs. You don't need this. Ahrefs is really expensive. They do have a $27 subscription, which is really good, but I just want to get an understanding right away of what are the type of keywords they're ranking for that page and what position they're in. So they're already not doing pretty good. Gabriele, nice to have you here. Thanks for leaving a message there. You can see here, okay, they're not doing bad. So vintage Rolex, New York City, vintage watches, cool. I think the brand names plus vintage would be really good, unless they just do Rolexes. No, they do Tiffany & Co. Cool. Okay, so that's going to be something that I'm going to just start placing as an idea right away. Doc here. I tend to work pretty, I don't know, pretty kind of untidy, and then I leave it all to Claude or anything to figure out. So here, I'm just going to leave a title, SEO strategy. And I'm going to show you guys all my tricks here. I've got this cool tool that I've been using called Super Whisper, and it looks like this. So I can do this a little bit easy. I'm going to do notes here, and I'm going to show you how this thing works. It's awesome. So we need to think about adding vintage watch collection plus the brand name of the watches. I think ranking for those keywords might be really good as well. Albert, yes, this will be published to YouTube, but I'll probably record a whole new video for this as well. 16 watches, all right. So that's one thing already. I know that I can probably start placing in those other keywords there, vintage by brand. Yeah, cool. So all these will be really good to rank for as well. Awesome. That's already a strategy that we can probably see here. It looks pretty good. By decade, brand. Cool. One good trick to do with product category pages, which this is essentially, is you want to put a bit of SEO text at the bottom where it doesn't really get in the way, but maybe, why choose the jewelers? Sure, we might want to know that, but I would probably, let's say somewhere here, I would add a section predominantly that's FAQs right? And we make sure we have the structured data for the FAQ sections. And then you're wondering, okay, well, what kind of questions do we place in there? Well, we can do people also ask. This is a brand free tool, by the way. Brand free tool. Sorry. I think I'm nervous. I'm live. But we go to just make sure that we've probably got the same keywords for vintage watches and go into vintage watches. And I want to see, okay, what are the main frequently asked questions that people are asking about vintage watches in the United States? And this is from a user's perspective, but also this is good kind of information and data to have on a main category page, because that's really a money page. What I mean here, I mean, everything's a money page in an e-commerce store, but this is going to be so good. If we rank this page really well, it's going to make them a lot of money. We'll wait till that finishes there in a second. And then while that's waiting, let's take a look here. I would probably add a bit of internal linking throughout there in the places that we said. So where are we? Here, where we'll place FAQ sections. FAQ. We'll also add some internal linking for like within this. So if in the FAQ section, we kind of mentioned the watch brand names, we'll link to those ones. Ask me more questions, guys. By the way, this is an open forum, so please keep me company. Ask away, say good day. Let's see. Okay, this is taking a while. I'm gonna use another free tool called Answer the Public. And just place that there. We're not in Chile, we're in the United States. United States, we're gonna search. Cool. Vintage watches in places. Okay. Vintage watches by year. That's a good one. I didn't really think about that. Cool. Thank you, John, for joining the community. If you're watching this live. Okay, why this isn't working is pissing me off. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear in a live stream. Anyway, we'll let that go. But that's the idea, to add frequently asked questions there. I don't know what's going on with this. So down the bottom, we'll put the FAQ sections. Now, what we can do is check out the blog post. Like, are they writing things about vintage watches? Cool, okay. They've got one blog post that was written in 2016. So that's going to be one strategy that's going to be easy for them to do. We're going to write a lot more blog posts about vintage watches, and I'll show them how they can do this as well. Because what you want to do, you want to become the topical authority figure within your niche. And part of that is to write content that helps people answer the questions that they're asking about. In this example, vintage watches. All right. So that's all well and good. That's, let's call it like the aesthetic, the surface SEO analysis. And I think we're starting from a good point. But I really need some in-depth analysis. So like I need to peek under the hood and see what the competitor is ranking for, how many keywords they're ranking for, and other things like that. This will really paint a much clearer picture of what we need to do. So I've got this Google Sheet here. And this is part of our community stuff. So I'm going to show you in the classroom section, we have automation fundamentals, and we have a competitor analysis automation, right? So this is the Google Sheet here that we're going to get, but this explains how to do this whole thing that I'm going to do now, by the way. And you get all the assets here. So if you click the Google Sheet template, it'll make you a copy of this. And all you need to do is fill out the main website that you want to rank, just keep it at the top, and then the competitors, the other ones, you need the location and the languages, and that's it. And then I'm going to show you how to build this automation with Make, which is the automation software of choice. Is this finished? No. All right, well, we'll do that later. That sucks. Sorry, guys, that's supposed to work. It usually does. Anyway. Okay, I'm going to go to Make. And Make, for those of you who don't know, is an automation software. And I could do this with Ahrefs, but Ahrefs is too expensive, and I honestly like the fact that I can place in this in an automation and then use it for other things. It's also a lot cheaper. So we use an API or a data set called Data for SEO, which makes things very affordable. It's pay as you go. You don't need to worry about a subscription, and it just helps you all out a lot more. So I've got an automation here. I'm going to start from scratch so you guys can see this, how easy it is once you've got all the assets from the community. And really, this is one automation of many. So I'm going to create a new scenario, and I'm going to go to the community, and you can see it's blank. I'm going to download the blueprint. This is a little JSON file that just kind of has the automation already for you. You can see that I've downloaded it there. I'm going to go to make. I'm going to import a blueprint, choose the file that I just downloaded, which should be this bad boy here. And you can see like magic, ta-da, it's all going to fill out. Right? Now, obviously, there's a couple of things that we need to do here first. We need to select the Google Sheet that we've just created. So the Google Sheet is called Zach Template, Copy, Competitor Analysis Automation. Yours will be a little bit different. Lead Saver. Do you use WooCommerce for e-commerce sites like this? If so, creating NAN automation to create... WooCommerce or Shopify, it's regardless. The great question though, but the good SEO will work anyway. WooCommerce is great for a lot of products, so is Shopify, so it's much of a muchness. And creating N8N automations, you can just copy this. I don't think you can upload a JSON file. We don't use N8N, but the same fundamentals still apply. I also like Make because it has a native integration with Data for SEO, which is what I use. So spreadsheet ID, I need to find the template that I just created for Zach. Here we are. And I've got the first thing done already. Limit, I'll leave as is. The rest should be going. And essentially what we're doing is we're calling Data for SEO a couple of times to get us the backlink summary, organic traffic summary, what ranking keywords they've got and stuff like that. And we're organizing it in a nice little Google Sheets row. Cool, that is done okay. I'm just double checking this. Yep, that's all good. I think I need to do this one. Okay, so this is really important. This one, we need to find the sheet again, but this will be actually duplicating this sheet to get the keywords that all the websites are ranking for in individual tabs within this sheet. So here, what we're doing essentially is we are just copying that template once it fills out with new information from the keyword ranking data of those websites. This will make sense in a second. If this kind of is a little bit confusing, don't worry. So I need to look for that same doc, which is easy to find because it's got the name Zach. And then the rest is fine. You obviously can put in where you're going to place this thing, but for now, I just put it in a sheet that's already there. And I'm going to click save. And here I'm going to go, just make sure that this is okay. It looks great. Cool. I'm going to just rename this Zach so I don't get too many. I'm going to save this. And then hopefully the live streaming gods are with me. And I'm going to run this once. And then I'm going to, of course, it didn't work. That's good. Let's see what's going on here. Target URL, what's the error? Invalid URL parameter. What happened here? I've got invalid URL, but I've got the URL there. Let's see the whole URL. That's what's be making it a little bit funky. So let's go back here and see if this is going to work now. Save, run it. Yep, cool. Okay, now I'm going to go back here and you can see the data starting to fill out like magic. We can see that it's loading really quick. We have the title tag, the meta description, which is way too long, the H1, the referring domains as well. Estimated monthly traffic, total ranking keywords, keyword positions. Okay. So a lot of the keywords that they're ranking for are a lot lower than expected. Let's see if this is working. Okay, a little mistake here happened. That's okay. We can figure out here. Unable to pass range. Of course, this isn't going to work live. Invalid argument. Unable to pass range. Keywords ranking. Why did you not like that sheet name? Title. Yes, that was working there. That's bizarre. Martin. So it created the sheet, didn't it? No, it didn't. Okay. If you're having an error with this, you can always use this guy here. Let me fix this. I love how I prepare this, and every time I do it, like without the live, it obviously works. But anyway. I'm paying $250 a month to SEMrush currently. Do you think automations like this can provide the bulk of the data needed for data for SEO, where there'll be a lot of gaps? Look, you need to use this first, and then you need to make that decision yourself, because Ahrefs is good. It's just expensive, and it depending on what you use it for. Lewis Martin, why can I pass that? I don't understand. Range keywords in A. Let me just double check that I've set these things correctly. Spreadsheet ID is the same one that we selected here. Spreadsheet ID for 28. That is correct. Name, title, name of the sheet. We're getting it from 43, which is this one here. Title, that's fine. Yeah, I don't understand why it didn't like that. You know what? Maybe it's not liking the... Oh, that's right. Row count, column. This is one of the things that you need to be aware of. So I'm going to just fix this little bad boy up here. I know that seems silly, but I might try if that works. And run it again. Hopefully that'll fill out. Any questions while we're waiting for all this to work? Let me know. Oh man, again. Why have you going on? Okay, it's not liking the additional characters. Funny, usually he's fine with that. It's because this generated it. So this copied it. And then we're getting the data. This live might be a fail. Whoops. Anyway. Path. Not yet. Results. Making sure that I'm getting the data sets. I am. Yeah. Okay, great. So, yeah, keyword data, New York, Martin. Awesome. So I am getting the data. Why aren't you liking this? A1. Why the hell? Sheet name. Is that where the problem is happening? Add a row in sheet name. Title, we're getting it from the last one that we created. This one here of the title. Range, A to Z, refresh. I'm going to use the same spreadsheet ID, sheet ID. No, because there needs to be that spreadsheet. Well, let's try this. Maybe that's where it's going on here. Copy a sheet, sheet ID. That's a spreadsheet ID. I need this one here. You know what? Let's see if this is the actual problem. This guy here, and then we can do it individually. And maybe cancel, save anyway. It's a good niche AI recipe blogging. Please tell me pro and cons. Is that good niche AI recipe blogging? Please tell me pro and cons. Recipe blogging with AI is probably very saturated. So I wouldn't do it. If you're going to do it, make sure you do YouTube videos as well. Because like every grandma and their cat wants to do a recipe blog. And then really with SEO in 2025, you need to diversify. Like you need to, man, this thing really isn't working today, is it? Location name, what do you mean? I got it. Oh no, I didn't. Yeah, I think with SEO, you need to think of it in a perspective that you need to be everywhere. I think Neil Patel, as much as sometimes I hate him, but I love him, he said SEO should be considered not search engine optimization, it's search everything optimization, which is like true as well. Like, you know, he's onto something. So, you know, I do want to place in this though, because I need it in here. Let's try that. All right. We're going to save this. Yep, cool. Add a row manually. Column range is fine. Sheet's name needs to be you know what, I'm actually going to change this now because this doesn't seem to be working. I'm going to create a different name for this. I'm going to use the row number so then I can actually tell. I think that's what's causing the friggin' mistake here. I'm going to save this. I'm going to save anyway. Sheet name is going to be fine. We're going to be able to use the title and save this. I think the URL somehow was screwing it up. And I guess this is one of the components of, oh, fuck me gently. Sorry, I shouldn't swear on the lives. Whoops. To invalidate one, unable to phrase range. 2 ranking keywords. Why are you unable to? Sheet name, title, spreadsheet ID. I'm going to delete this thing and do it again. So I'm going to add a parameter here. Copy sheet. Google Sheet. I'm going to update not update a row. I'm going to, my God, it's going to be a troubleshooting session. So sorry, guys. Google Sheet, add a row. Yeah. Now it needs to be update row. So select by manually sheet ID. We're going to get the first one because it's the spreadsheet ID and it's this bad boy here. Sheet name is the one that we generated here. Sheet name, the row number is going to be row number. The column range is going to be A to Z, and then we should have all the data, and we've got it here. So we're not going to fill A, B, C, and D because that's all data sets that we've got here. We need D. Beautiful. Okay, I think we'll get it here. So let me just put this here so I can look at it really easily. And I'm going to take a look at, actually, you know what? Let's try something else. Discard changes. I'm going to go to working one and just change this to school data for SEO module. I'm going to go to competitor analysis tutorial, and I'm just going to cheat here because you guys are watching. There's 14 people. Yeah, my bad. Okay, and I'm going to change this for Zach. And it's probably, I know that it's user error. Like, I know I've just, was it Zach? What the hell was his name? Yeah, Zach. I know that it's all user error. Like, this is my fault. The same thing with like prompting. If the prompt isn't coming out as you want it to, it's your fault. That I've learned. Spreadsheet ID is not in here. Just going to select by path or then delete this bad boy. And then maybe NNN is better after all. Yeah, spreadsheet ID, perfect. That's the one we want. We want the first one here. Spreadsheet ID, sheet ID is the, this is what I was getting wrong maybe. I was putting the sheet name, not the sheet ID. Oh, I need to copy the sheet competitor data. No, that's what I was doing wrong. Beautiful. So I need to go keyword data. Yeah, that is true words have never been spoken. It's awesome when it works and when it doesn't. And of course it didn't want to work when we were live, but hey, that's the reality. But I'm going to force on, even if it takes me forever. Okay, but at least you're getting the data here. I can probably get it now, copy sheet ID. The sheet, competitor data. No, it's not competitor data. I need to copy keyword data. Dude, why? How the hell is this been working the whole time? And then now it isn't working. Let's do one more thing here because I don't want to waste you guys' time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your patience. Any other SEO questions that you guys have for the meanwhile that I can answer? Might as well make this somewhat productive. Let me don't join the community. Jesus. Yeah, but I need to copy a sheet and the sheet ID is not coming up here. Destination and everything. And I need to select method, sheet ID. The sheet ID to copy is spreadsheet ID, sheet. And why is this getting so complicated? Ah, found you. That's the one. Cool. I think I've got it. Yeah, that's the one. I'm just getting the number from this thing here. Save this guy. Save this. Yes. Fourth time's a charm. Oi, hang on. Aha. Woo! Yeah. All right. After all that jazz, we're getting the keywords. Okay, we're back on, folks. We are back on. Cool. Okay, so what we're doing now is we're getting all the data sets from the websites. Let me see. Yeah, cool. So that's filling up. What that is filling up is in our template. You can see that I'm getting all the keywords that page was ranking for, right? So I just want to get an understanding of what might be good for us. You're always going to get an idea of what the competitor is ranking for, because you might think, shit, that's a good keyword idea. Actually, I didn't think of that. And you can only really have that data if you are looking for it like this. So see how I said before that I think a good strategy would be to rank for the actual brands plus vintage watches. And they've got Omega Watch, Watchmen's Vintage. So let's just zoom in here. I clearly haven't done this again before. This one here. So it's kind of verifying the little inkling that I had. It's like, okay, we need to do these because check this out, right? This is a beautiful keyword. And I don't know if they have Omega key watches or not, but that's beside the point. I'm going to freeze this row. And the one that I had selected, Omega Watch Men's Vintage, a difficulty of 0. Now, always take this data with a grain of salt because it might not actually be 100% correct. You should use it as a direction, including the volume. I can bet you there's more volume than this, but regardless. And then I can see that it's not so difficult, but it's going to be really good. So great. I'm good. I'm getting that data set. I know that I was spot on, that I needed to rank for the longer tail keywords with the watch brand, vintage keyword and stuff like that. And then now we go to Danny, the other one. So this is all the competitors. Best place to watch vintage Rolexes and stuff like that. And again, these guys all have the same thing. I'm going to copy this as well. Freeze this as well. Vintage Rolex, Brooklyn, yada, yada. I've got another one here and another one filling out. So just to recap here, after all that clusterfuck, I know I'm not supposed to swear, but sorry, that happened, is essentially now we're getting all the keyword data and the analysis here of all this stuff here. So we're understanding now all the competitors, and these are the guys that we're trying to rank for, by the way, isn't it? It is. Lewis, yep, it is, cool. And once the data fills out, we'll be able to see that, cool, this is the gold. This is the honey pot. We know that, okay, they got a lot of referring domains, a lot of total backlinks, estimated monthly search traffic. The color coded, the way that I've placed it here is in columns, right? So in terms of columns here, green means the most and then red means the least. So for referring domains, for the data that we've got so far, the guys that have the most referring domains, meaning other websites linking to them, are these guys, the second time around watch.com. They've got 46. And funnily enough, they also have the most amount of estimated monthly search traffic. It's not yet to say that just because they have the most amount of referring domains, they have the most estimated monthly search traffic, but that is a key indicator now because different niches will change and it's not always the same. And now we got the last bit of data set, which was the website that we're actually trying to rank for. And this paints a beautiful picture. For that specific category page, they only have one referring domain, 2 backlinks, and they have the least amount of estimated monthly search traffic. So I know that this is going to be a game of 2 things. This is going to be a game of getting backlinks for that specific category page and ranking it for higher keywords, for more keywords. So let's see now what they're currently ranking for and how we might be able to improve this, right? So this is our client in this instance, right? and you can see vintage, vintage, vintage watch, which is fine. But you see what they don't have is the brand name next to vintage watch collection. So I could stop right there and go, boom, that's your strategy. We're going to rank for all these longer tail keywords with the brand. I can already see that that's the difference. So I'm happy with that. I've already uncovered a great strategy here, right? Can anyone give me a little hands up, thumbs up, if this is kind of making sense? I'm so sorry for the little mess around at the beginning, but yeah, I think this is great. So we uncovered a couple of things here. I'm just going to put it in the notepads here. We've definitely uncovered that a lot of the competitors that are ranking better are doing that because they concentrated on the long tail keyword variation of the watch brand name with the additional keyword of vintage watch. I'll put that here. Cool. All right. Perfect, yeah. Correct lead saver. You are spot on, my friend. Okay, cool. So now we are cooking with gas, as we say. And we've got all the data set that's really interesting. Really good, really high quality. I'm just going to put Lewis Martin, the guy that we're actually trying to rank a little bit higher here and organize this. Okay. So if you really wanted to now, you could go and just select here the watches that you, sorry, not the watches, the keywords that you know you should start kind of concentrating as well. This is from the competitors, by the way. But I know, for example, that reputable watch vintage dealers. I like that, actually. That's not a bad one. Manhattan, stuff like that, vintage. Okay, I'm just going to mark this one then. Yeah, cool. Okay, I'm going to look at the other one here. And they're not ranking for too many things, but they might give us an insight. So what I'm doing is selecting the stuff that I also want to go for, just so if I'm working with someone else, I can just say like secondhand luxury watches. I can say, look at all the keywords that have been highlighted in green. That's for the ones that we're trying to rank for. That's a good one. You can do this, you can do that. I'm just wanting to show you that it's not a exact science, but whatever. And there was one that was doing really well with all the keywords. No, one more. Oh, I seem to have lost it. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so we've got the data. This is great. So obviously because I know a bit of SEO, I know kind of where to look at, and I was looking at this and I know, okay, great. We know what to do. We know to add a couple of things here, which I'm going to speak out here. For the product category page of vintage watches, we're going to add a little SEO section at the bottom of that page as well. That is like an FAQ section, which will be answering all the frequently asked questions about vintage watch collections. And we'll be using it to increase the internal linking through the subcategories that fall under which watch collections. Yeah, something like that. So, and I have like, I don't know, ADD or something like that. So I need to work with these tools so I can brain dump all this information there. So now we're going to have the winner here, or the main tool that we're going to use here. You could also do search intent information. That's going to be part of the information that the blogs that we're going to start writing in a second. But I want to do the low-hanging fruit. The low-hanging fruit is going to be getting the information about just the main keywords for now. Download the whole file. I'm going to see hopefully if Claude can take that file, because it's pretty big, but I think so. So let's do this again. And what we're going to do, I'm in Claude I've got the professional plan. Weird flex, I know. But I'm going to use a project because I want to put all this information together, right? You could do this with GPT 4.5, and I think it's going to be just as good, but I'm going to create a project. And I'm going to go SEO strategy, watches Zach, because Zach is the guy in our database. And what are you trying to achieve? So here is where we need to be a bit more defined. We're probably going to increase the prompt or improve the prompt here, but we are trying to rank the website Lewis Martin Jewelers #1 for the keyword vintage watches. We have all the data information of the competitors. We're going to analyze that and come up with a detailed SEO strategy for Lewis Martin Jewelers so that they rank #1 for the vintage watch keyword. And I'm going to do that. Okay, cool. Actually, it did as a note. I don't want that as a note. I want that as a, as a message here. Let me describe this better again. So the goal is to rank the website Lewis Martin Jewelers #1 for the keyword vintage watches. I'm going to provide the URL. You also have all the data from the competitors, the SEO data that we're going to use to make sure that we make a data-driven approach SEO strategy. I don't know. You don't have to be too precise. A lot of people are with this. I find that it kind of gets me. On Jules' data, I'll provide you the URL. I'm going to provide the URL of this bad boy here, which is this one. Create project. All right, do we have any more questions while this is doing? No, great. Knowledge set. I'm going to, hopefully this is going to work. All right, it took that. Let me just double check this data set, that it has all the data set that we want in there. Yes, it does. Awesome. Great. So this is the good thing about Claude. You know, you can kind of chuck anything about it. So I also want a bit of an understanding of the website itself, Martin Jewelers. So what I'm going to do is do a dirty search with Perplexity because I want to find out some information about the client, in this instance, Lewis Martin. And I'm going to ask Perplexity just to do like a basic search here on this so we can give that context to Perplexity. Remember, no matter how smart these models are, the same fundamental rules still apply. Garbage in, garbage out. The quality of the output is directly related to the quality of the input. So what we're doing here is making the input as best as we can. I want you to research this website and provide me with a detailed understanding of what they do, where they are, what they offer, with specifics to their watch collection and vintage watch collections, but I also want to know the other general information about this business and website. Cool. So to answer Richard Wayne Photography, it looks like you rolled up a little bit late to this. Yeah, we are giving Claude all the SEO information that we did with a automation that didn't work at first, but then it worked. So all this information here, which is backlinking data and all that sort of stuff, we're giving it to Claude. So it's got contextual understanding of what's all the SEO data that all the competitors have, plus our website. This is a great summary regardless, because Claude, even if you connect Claude to the internet, it's got the superficial data, but it doesn't have the SEO data that we need to give it. Feel free to ask any questions with that. Lewis Martin. And I'm going to do a not deep search, but, oh, you know what? Whatever. I'm going to give it a deep search. Why not? Whilst we're doing that, we also need to create a project set of instructions. So this is, you can think of this as a system prompt for this, right? And don't complicate this, but it's essentially telling Claude to act in a certain manner. We're telling it to take on a character, giving it some background, and we're defining the output, meaning how it's going to respond, right? Now, Claude, or Anthropic, I should say, has this really cool thing, console, that I haven't used in ages, but console Anthropic. I'm pretty sure it is console, unless I've just completely forgotten this. No, they do, console. They've got this little thing that helps you improve the prompt, and improve the prompt for Claude, obviously, right? So I've got some custom GPTs that will help you prompt better, but I'm going to do this improve existing prompt. So system prompt, if any. Okay, they've also generate prompt, describe your task. Cool. It's generate prompt, right? So I want to say, I want the AI to act like an SEO professional. It's going to help us rank the website called lewismartin.com, specifically the URL related to vintage watches. The responses should be analytical and precise. It should be concise as well, detailed and to the point. You want to provide me actionable insights, and this is going to be a back and forth conversation. There you go. So there, what I've kind of just done a lazy way of doing this, but you want to give us some background, some insights, and how it's going to answer things. So I'm going to place that in here. And this prompt will be used in no. So if you don't know how to prompt well, it doesn't matter. You've got tools that are going to help you better with this. Okay, so I'm just going to read this, make sure that I'm happy with the prompt, because I might not be. And let's see. Are all 25 of you following me so far? I don't know if 25 is a lot for a live stream or not, but can I get a thumbs up, thumbs down? Anything will do. lewismartin.com. I just need to make sure that I've got that correct here. Targeting keyword. And you can kind of see how Claude or Anthropic best likes to structure their prompts here. So you don't really need to think about it. Target keyword is going to be vintage watches. Six. Your firm analysis, your analysis, remember. Yep. Okay, let's just try that out. This might be too long for the custom set of instructions. I don't know. Let's see. Project instructions. No. Sweet. So to reiterate, what we've done is we've given this a set of instructions so that it acts accordingly. Question: what tool do you use for your transcription? It looks super efficient. It is super efficient and it's really good. I've only found it the last 5 days. Great question, Otis AI Marketing. It is called Super Whisper. And honestly, it has helped me write so much quicker, man. I like it. You can set certain parameters of it. So I've got a couple of modes. Configuration. Nope. Sorry. Modes. Create my transcription into a message, create my transcription into email, translate it into Chilean Spanish. I'm lazy. Create notes and messages. So you can kind of set little prompts for that. Such a simple tool, but so good. And often the simplest tools are the best here. So we need to add one more thing here, which is this. Wowzers. We're going to put it as a PDF. So this is all the information on Lewis Martin Jewelers, because then we're giving it some background information again to drive this home. We need to provide it with good data. Can I just drop that? Yeah, in there. Okay. Awesome. And we've only used 2% capacity. It looks like they've increased that. Okay, cool. So now what we are going to do is start having a conversation, and I want to see what kind of analysis it does. I'm actually excited to see what Claude Deep Think does here for the first analysis. So this is live, obviously, but I've never done this with Claude, so I'm really interested in what it's going to do here. We might end up deleting the system instructions if it's too broad, but no. Let me know in the comments after the first question that I do, what kind of questions you'd like to ask it. Understanding that we want to rank Lewis Martin Jewelers for the main keyword vintage watches, can you provide me an analysis of all of the data that we have given, included the competitor SEO data and everything else, to give me some interesting insights and overall analysis of everything so I can understand from a bird's eye perspective all of the data that we've given you. All right, let's see how Claude Sonnet does with all this information. Thinking about it and stuff like that. So now this really is up to you. I know the strategy already, so I know that we're going to improve the on-site SEO by just doing a minor fixes in the end of that product category page. So I should probably show you whilst I'm doing it. So in this page, I know that we're going to add some FAQ sections at the end here that are also interlinking throughout the rest of these sub pages. And then I know that I'm going to create, so for example, the brand, each one of these ones, I want vintage. I struggle saying that one. So I struggle saying all these friggin' watch. Why did I pick watch branders? I'm so sorry. I'm the least watch guy. Okay, this one I think I can say. So here, instead of just saying vintage watches, it should say vintage Avida aesthetic watches, right? So that's what it should say here as well, because that's what we want to rank for. Low search term, but it doesn't matter. We're still going to go for that. So I'm going to do that for all the brands as well. And probably, do they have by type? Men's, manual? Yeah. Vintage automatic watches, vintage manual watches, vintage manual wind watches. You get the idea, right? We're all following. You guys are picking up what I'm putting down. Oh, that's not the one. Let me get rid of a few of these things. Yes, I don't need the console anymore. All right, let's see. SEO analysis. Based on the provided information, Lewis Martin Jewelers has a strong foundational elements to rank for vintage elements, but needs strategic optimization. Yes. Strength. Specialized expertise, yada, yada. Improvements. Richard Wayne Photography. I mean adding... good question. So what I mean here, let me double back here and what I was trying to do. So... Cartier, right? They've got some vintage Cartier watches. At the moment, if we look at this product category page and we look at the metadata, right? It just says vintage watches. No matter if I pick another brand, so one that they've got a lot, Cartier, because I can say that, Cartier. So when I click this, or the way that it should have it now, because I'm just filtering by vintage Cartier watches, this page though isn't going to rank for vintage Cartier watches because it's just a search function. So the page doesn't say vintage Cartier watches, it just says vintage watches. So to be able to rank for those longer tail keywords, we need that dedicated pages for that. Yes, it's going to be a bit of work for the developers, but if they want to make more money, that's what you got to do. Richard, give me a thumbs up if that made sense. If it didn't, I'll go through it again because that's really important to understand. Cool, awesome. SEO challenges, limited information on current page optimization, title tag, meta description, yeah, market position, great context. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to see if it resonates with the idea that I have about ranking for the brand specific vintage watches and see what it can analyze regarding, regarding that strategy, right? Looking at the information for the competitors, particularly their ranking keywords, I can see that they're ranking for brand specific vintage watches. I think this would be a really good strategy for our client to do. Can you just verify what I'm thinking and make sure that it makes sense? And also, can you provide any ideas on top of that, whether we expand on the brand name plus the sex of the one wearing it? So Cartier female vintage watches, for example, and what are the keywords that you recommend looking at the data from the competitors from this? And now, if you've got this guy as a client, my whole thing would be to keep this project for me or for the client, whoever, right? Because I can go back and continue doing my strategy. So once I have a conversation with Claude Sonnet quite a bit, I'm going to ask it to then make the strategy for me in terms of what we spoke about and why, so I can just place it into a doc. Nice. Okay, so here, let's see what it says. Your strategy to brand specific watches is absolutely based. This is, be careful because I probably should have said in the prompt, critically analyze my thought or my strategy, because it wants to agree with you anyway, but that's beside the point. So your strategies absolutely sound based on the available information, focusing on brand vintage keyword terms and several advantages. High purchase intent. Search is already looking for vintage Rolex watches rather than just vintage watches. Cool. Lower competition. Inventory alignment. Search behavior match. Gender specific approach is another one. Men's vintage Rolex watches. Yep. Looking at Lewis inventory. 666 vintage timepieces. The reputation for trust seller. Yeah. Create dedicated page for luxury. Yeah, vintage Rolex watches, for example, for sure. Develop gender-specific collection URLs. Collections, vintage, women's vintage watches. Do they have that? That's a good idea. Let's take a look. See, and this is why I love the smart models, because they can help us. So shop watches. So they've got vintage watches, but then they don't have women's vintage. So there could be another mega menu going men's vintage, women's vintage for sure. Okay, I'm happy with that. Implement keyword clustering, target pair brands with models, materials, and time periods. 1960s Omega Seamaster. Okay, that makes sense, but we'll have to look at the categories to see how much they've got here. Create content addressing watch authentication, value appreciation, care specifically to their major brands. Okay, this is perfect. This is in alignment with my content strategy that I was thinking about. They don't have any blog posts. That is one of the lowest hanging fruits and quick wins to do. For example, if I buy a brand new Omega watch, vintage watch, before I buy it, if it's a really important purchase for me, I'm probably going to say, okay, how do I take care of an Omega watch? What's the history of Omega watch and stuff like that? Because from my understanding, watch guys love to tell you every single aspect of it, right? Well, the Omega can go up to 13,000 kilometers in the sun, and all these things that no one's really going to need, but they love saying that. So why not provide that information? That isn't purchase intent, but it will help you become the topical authority figure in the niche, right? Would you like to provide a more detailed strategy of the brand focused targeted keywords? Yes, let's create a easy to understand and well-structured strategy that will explain our concentration on the brand focused long tail keywords of the vintage watches, as well as the sex focus category. So female vintage watches as well as male vintage watches. I want it in a document format that we can perhaps present to the client. Because why not let this thing do the work for you? Cool. While that's creating our strategy, I just want to verify that I'm not just absolutely losing my marbles when it comes to the vintage watch collection idea. So I'm going to look at a brand that I somewhat recognize. Cartier is definitely a well-known brand. So what I'm going to go is just make sure that I'm not, as the Australians would say, off my chops. Keyword Explorer, and just verify that I'm onto something. United States. Stage vintage Cartier watches. Or watch. Okay, but there is some, yeah. There is some here. I can update. See, this is why I hate this. But there is some search volume, which is more than enough for me. I'm just going to search it and see what happens. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, okay, great. So this is the other thing, right? So we looked at Ahrefs and it said, yeah, there's little searches. And I don't believe that for a second. Sure, it might be low searches. I don't care. I'm still going to go for that strategy. Let's see what Claude has done. So, yeah, that's not bad. Let's see what it's done. Brand focus SEO strategy for Martin Lewis watches, vintage watch collection, executive summary. This strategy document outlines, wow, okay, vintage watches. We recommend focusing on brand-specific, gender-segmented long-tail keywords that align with actual search behavior of luxury vintage watches. Beautiful. Lewis Martin's impressive inventory of 655 vintage timepieces, the company's established expertise, yada yada. Search pattern evolution, generic interests, vintage watches, brand focus, vintage Rolex watches, specific requirements, vintage 1970s men's vintage Rolex watch. Yeah, nice. Insights. Yeah. Search including gender modifications have increased 34% year on year. I don't know where you got that information. That makes me a little bit scared, but anyway. Long tail brand, model, era. Nice. Our recommendation approach is create 3-tiered keyword targeting system, targeting the primary luxury brand, watch brands with dedicated landing pages showcasing Lewis Martin's inventory. That's great. Tier 2, gender-specific brand pages, categorizing specialized pages that address the unique character as sizing style consideration for men's and women's. Great. Ultra-specific product category pages, develop strategies for high value combination of brand, model, era. Brand. Rolex, vintage Rolex watches. Let me just verify that. See, this is the scary thing. It's starting to make up information for the search volume. So I'm like, vintage Rolex watches. Okay, actually, no. But see, look at the keyword that we just found. God damn. It has one keyword difficulty, right? And it's got the traffic potential of 3,600. Yeah, boom. God damn it. I love when these things work. So we started off in a bit of a problem, but this is working really well now. You can tell that I'm a nerd. I really like this stuff. It's like you just create this puzzle and it all of a sudden fits. Cool. So before I would give this strategy, I would just do a bit more keyword research and I would verify that Claude isn't making shit up, because it is, but it's really good regardless, right? Gender specific, men's vintage Rolex watches, yeah, high value keywords, incredible. It's giving me an implementation phase. Month 1, month 2, optimize main vintage collections, vintage watches, yep. Categorize and optimize 5 brand specific pages. Phase 2. Cool. Awesome. So this is great, right? I've got a bit of a strategy here. I can do 2 things now. I can I'm going to copy this and I'm going to give it to Zach, right? But you can also do a couple of things. So, So I've got my brand focused SEO strategy for him, even with all the tables and stuff like that. So like pretty good, yeah. And it's good because it's got the keyword data. What I can also do, let's say I'm happy with that. I'm going to use it to add it to the project. So what I've done here is I've added this whole thing to the project, which means there's a brand new file here. And now the project itself can reference the strategy that we just created, which is why Claude is kick-ass for this. So I've got that, right? So now what I want to focus on, because this is, okay, landing pages, that might be enough to really kick it out of the ballpark for these guys. What I'm going to do now is take a look at my other strategy that I had here. That wasn't the one. Did I just delete? No. Vintage consideration, we got that right. Competitor analysis, we got that right. Okay, so what I want to do now is I'm going to do 2 additional documents. One that's explaining how we can increase the internal linking as a result of creating those specific sub-product category pages, which is the brand name, vintage, and even the male or female thing. But I want to introduce that section at the bottom. So for those of you who might have joined later, so vintage watches. This eventually is going to say, for example, Cartier, right? Cartier vintage watches. We can integrate a lot of these pages. And at the bottom, we're going to have a little FAQ section of why Cartier watches are the best. FAQ, right? So just so we're all on the same page. What we are going to do now is to go back to Claude and tell it that. It's because I want it to formulate the strategy, but let's go back and forth, have a conversation with it to make sure that we are thinking about this correctly. This time I won't forget to ask it to think critically of my choice and tell me where I'm missing things. Now I want to work on another strategy for the same website, and we've established that we're going to create more long tail specific product pages for this client. But what I want to do is verify this following idea. In each of the product category pages, for example, Cartier vintage watch, at the bottom of that product category page, I want to place a 5 to 6 question FAQ section, answering all of the frequently asked questions about those keywords. Within that, I also want to try and use that to not only increase the overall SEO keywords on that product category page, but also improve the interlinking to the other related product category pages. I want you to think critically about this idea and help me explore this, and let me know where I might be missing potential things about the strategy and any flaws in my thinking. Any questions as well? Didn't work. Sometimes this thing doesn't work. God damn it. I'm going to do this one more time. I want to create a new strategy now within the same formulation. I think that all the individual product category pages that we're going to build, such as Omega vintage watches, should have a detailed FAQ section at the bottom of them, answering all the frequently asked questions about that vintage collection. This will be used to improve the SEO of the page, but also the interlinking. Can you think critically about this strategy? Let me know where I might be missing a few things and if you agree with it or not. All good, Richard. I'm actually going to, I'm going to create a whole video of this because I think this is really good. Sorry, I hate to toot my own horn, but this is pretty good. But I'll definitely create a whole thing of this. Based on the documents provided, I've analyzed the strategy, implement FAQ sections. This approach has significant merit, but there are some considerations. Okay, cool. Enhanced targeting FAQs incorporate long tail keywords based on the lines how collectors, yeah. Strengths, okay, yeah, strength. Potential gaps. Content duplication. That's a good point. Structured data implementation, we're going to do that. Mobile optimization. Nah, that's all right. Conversion optimization, yeah, that's going to be at the bottom, so I'm okay. Framework. Your strategy would benefit from KPIs to measurement the impact of it. Yeah, that's a good point, but I still think it's good. Yes, yes, okay, great. Can you create this into a concise strategy document that we can give to the client along with the other documentation that we've done? Okay, so 70 minutes in, and we've finally got two strategies, but if the automation would have been working from the get-go, we obviously would have done this a lot quicker. Cool. Okay, we've got on-site SEO, we've got the good keyword research, and we are going to do now, what are the blogs that we're going to start writing about, right? So I'm going to try this one more time with people also ask, but I'm going to need to find let's go to, for example, and I need to look for an alternative because this isn't working. There should be a free one somewhere. This one. Yeah, people also asked. Rolex, vintage Rolex. So this is going to formulate part of the content strategy for them now with the blog post. So essentially what I'm going to do, and it looks like their API is down if this isn't working. So that is okay. It should work tomorrow or whatever. What this does essentially is provide you a mind map of all the frequently asked questions that somebody's asking about. Hey! Okay, second part of the stream is working. I like that. Sorry for those who started and nearly got angry with me because it wasn't working. Fair enough, but now it's working. All right. So not all these questions make sense for them to answer, but a lot of them do, right? So what I'm going to do now is show you how I would start a content strategy for them. And it's a lot easier than you think. You might say you're not doing any keyword research. I kind of did already. I'm doing question research if you want. And I think that's a lot more effective these days for GEO, generative engine optimization. I'm going to use my old pal GPT for this. Why not? And I'm just going to say, please return only the questions. So this is going to create part of my pool. No worries, Otis. If you considering dirty plug, I know, but if you want a little bit more support, you should try and join our online community because we do things like this every week, and we can help you and we can make sure that you're in the right direction with your strategy. Okay. Cool. So I've got the questions here that I know people are asking because we've done a little bit of keyword research. Okay, perfect. I'm going to go back here. So we now have overall SEO strategy for the pages because we did the keyword research. We got the FAQ section done. And now finally, we're going to do the content strategy. If I copy this, is it? Okay. So let's see. Now I want to create on an overall content strategy for them. They have very little blogs, and I think this is a missed strategy. Below are all the frequently asked questions about the main keyword vintage Rolex collection. Using this as information, I want you to create a detailed content strategy, which will create by each question will be turned into a blog post answering that question in detail. They'll be interlinking to the main keyword category page, which will increase the overall SEO because we're answering the frequently asked questions people are asking about that keyword. Sorry if I'm going too quick for some people, but yeah. All right. Getting there. And if you do this like step by step and implement it, you can charge a lot for this, but like this strategy, but without having to think too hard, we created a pretty good strategy that we know is using detailed data, which is key here. It's one of the main things. Cool. All right. I'm going to show you what the 3 strategies look like now. Let's so we've got one, which is Zach is okay, so Zach, brand focus SEO strategy for Lewis Mutton. It's great. So brand focus meaning the keyword for the long tail keyword for the actual brands of each of the vintage watches. Next, I should probably check this, but for not going till very late on a Friday, because my missus will kill me. And I'm going to die soon, just because I get really excited about this, and I'm going to start losing my dexterity to speak well. Vintage, so this is going to be vintage content strategy. Perfect for Zach. Oh, that's not the one. Okay, and now is the time where you guys get to ask questions while I'm doing this, please. So hit me with it. Any questions about our community, any questions about what I just did. Everything is on the table. I need to do FAQ content strategy, that one. I need to copy this one here. Cool. File, make a copy. Sure, whatever. I'm going to delete it anyway. FAQ. Cool. So now I've got 3 pretty detailed documents that I can give them. And essentially, to summarize, what we did is we looked at the competitors. And before that, we looked at the overall kind of vibe of the website, if you will. And right away, we saw that it's not so SEO optimized for vintage watches, right? I wanted to look at all the competitors, which we did. And in terms of a design and how quickly the website is loading of the client, that doesn't seem to be an issue. So that's really good, right? Sometimes that is, and you need to have a look at that. And why I do that is because some clients want to metaphorically race in the Formula One, but they're driving a Prius. By that, I mean the website's loading really slowly, it's got a horrible conversion rate, and it's like, well, this isn't going to work, right? But this website's really good. So it's starting off from a good basis. By doing the competitor analysis, looking at the keywords that they're ranking for and stuff like that, we uncovered that my hunch on, hey, we should probably be optimizing for the brand and plus vintage watch collection, so Rolex vintage watches, for example, because that was a hunch, but I verified the hunch by looking at the competitors' keywords, because a lot of them were ranking for these longer tail keywords branded, because it makes sense to do so, right? And then what we did is, well, I want to further optimize and rank these pages, so vintage watch collections, by having specific FAQs about those frequently asked questions at the bottom there. At the bottom, because it doesn't get in the way of the conversion and stuff like that. This is kind of purely just for SEO. And with that, we're also going to improve interlinking. And then the next thing that we've figured out is that, well, if I look at the blogs, they aren't ranking, right? Sorry, they don't have any blogs. So this is a massive missed opportunity. And they're going to ask us, well, what should we write about? And now I've got your content strategy. Well, you know, you've got a content pillar structure. We're going to create a few articles and clusters and everything like that for you. This is how you start. I would double check this. Obviously, I've done this very quickly, but this is a data-driven approach with automations kind of, and leveraging AI to do this complicated stuff for you. SEO can be complicated, but it really doesn't have to be. Whew, cool. And that's it. Yeah, look, if you guys want to learn how to do this, and if you want the assets and stuff for that, shameless plug, I know, but we've got all this stuff in the AI ranking school community. We've got a bunch of things here. We've got all the classroom sections where you're going to learn about SEO, automations, and AI. But really, we've got also live Q&As. You can join, you can ask us questions. Inevitably, you're going to run into a speed bump when you do all these things. And that's where we're here to help, right? We've seen a lot of wins in this community really easily. Now people are leaving, but that's okay. Like Steven is getting so many organic leads for his client. Like, it's nuts. January, he booked 99 booked appointments all through organic traffic with just the strategies that we teach there. So if that's of interest, let me know. If you've got any more questions, you can leave it in the comments below this video. You can hit me up on TikTok, or you can join the school community where you'll get pretty instant access to me. If you like this video, consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'm going to stick around for 5 to 10 minutes to answer any questions. And it looks like there isn't, but I'm just going to organize this stuff to be able to give it to Zach. Anything at all? I know it's Friday afternoon. You guys probably have much better things to do, but I thought I would do this live as well for Zach. No questions at all? Wow. Whoops. Super interested stuff on data for SEO. I'm really interested in how the tool connects with a custom GPT via webhook. Yeah, me too. So I've talked to them about that because it makes sense to do that. I like the way you're thinking, but their issue they have is they think too much like developers. They overcomplicate things. So they say the issue is that with any other function calling from data for SEO, they give so much information back from the function call that it's too much and it exceeds the callback limit, I think it's called. So you would really need to filter out a lot of the information that you need. You can do it though, but you need to know a lot about coding, and to be honest, it exceeds my knowledge, but I am trying to work with them on that. Cool. One last piece of advice that I would say, so if I would be giving this strategy to a client, I would record a Loom video with it as well, because a lot of things can get lost. And it just increases conversions for that. Anyway, cool. All right, there's 18 of us watching. There's a couple comments here and there. subscribe, and all that jazz. Terrible at self-promoting. Yeah, there's all these frequently asked questions. That's your content strategy already. Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much for joining, guys. If you've got any questions, just leave it in any of the videos or the comments, or if you really want some help and need some more advice, that's really what it is. You can join the community. You can join risk-free, meaning if you don't like it in the first 7 days, I'll personally give you your money back 100%, because if you don't like it there, then I don't think you should be stuck there when I helped you make that decision. So just let me know. It's a lot of fun. We're growing quickly. We've got a lot of support there. And reach out with any questions. Peeps, thank you so much for joining. If you want me to do this again, let me know. Nico, I have a question on a different topic. My focus is on more cold outreach and retargeting, and regarding backlinks. I'm thinking about running cold outreach campaign targeting PR. Don't know what you mean here. So you want a cold outreach, okay. Regarding backlinks, I'm thinking about running a cold outreach campaign targeting PR. So a cold outreach campaign to get backlinks? Maybe I'm a bit brain dead. Sorry, mate. Friday Arvo and all that jazz. Maybe hit me up on TikTok or on school. By the way, we have a free school community. For those of you who just want to get started, you can go to AI Ranking Free. A lot of fun. We also have a few live webinars. There's one coming up next Thursday, I think, which I still need to get ready for. So if you don't want to commit, which I understand, join our Ranking Free, and then you can see the rest of our content. Anyway, guys, I'll leave it there. I'll need to figure out how to stop OBS from recording. And yeah, have a lovely day. Thanks for watching. And if you've got any questions, let me know. Cheers.